Hey Heather, we are just, well, we're looking at your videos, so let's get started and see what we've got here. I might watch these at 2x speed just to get them to you faster.
He's my husband, and he's gonna love me, and that's just the way it worked.
Okay, so when you had your hands out in front of you, I'm just gonna go ahead and shoot right into the feedback. This motion right here with your hands says, you are the weight of my world and I'm carrying you. So, and if you're wanting to convey that to the audience, that's great, but I'm not sure if that's what you're looking for.
What I didn't know when we first got married.
Your makeup is fantastic.
Big wall between us.
Okay, so some things that I'm seeing here is you've got beautiful, authentic emotion coming up, but it's being held back. I'm really looking at the body language here by going, if you can see this tight-lipped face is holding back. One thing you can do to allow the emotion to flow and connect with your audience is just to leave your mouth open and make sure you're getting to this side of the stage when you're down into the emotional part of your story. And use silence here. This silence that is part of your low point is really going to connect people in a very powerful way.
In the form of a pornography addiction. If you've ever experienced any kind of addiction in a relationship.
Okay, a lot of what you said before, I'm also seeing about being in the box. I'm also seeing a lot of feminine gestures, this kind of emotion. So just be aware of that.
Relationship. It drives a wedge in your relationship. That wedge is what I call the shame cycle. So shame is a universal emotion that we all feel. And because I want to make sure we're on the same page, I use Brené Brown's definition, and that is the fear of disconnection. We all feel shame and
okay, that is a great definition. Have your audience repeat that after you so they can lock it in. The fear of what? Disconnection.
Different areas of our lives, different pieces of our lives have shame. So
let's see, right?
Different pieces of our lives.
There. You had a little hair flip. I'm going to encourage you to have your hair in such a way where you're not having to constantly flip it or move it out of your face, because that can be distracting.
Shame associated with them.
Another thing I'm noticing is the eye contact. I don't know if you're really talking to any one person in the audience. And remember, whenever you're in front of an audience, you're never talking to an audience. You're always talking to people, to one person at a time. So that means when eye contact, when you're talking to your audience, you look at people. You look directly at them and talk to them. And then you choose another person, look directly at them and talk to them.
There are several areas that are universal for all of us. And I want to thank Sabrina and Melinda for putting together, through intuition, they've attached some activity to almost every single one of these pieces of emotion or pieces of shame. So first one is our appearance or body image.
Okay, have them repeat. What's the first one?
Work.
Have them repeat.
Motherhood or fatherhood.
Repeat.
Family. Parenting. Our mental or physical health. Addiction. Sex. Aging. Religion.
I just want to point something out. When you went to the word sex, it was very well taken care of. I think that a lot of people are afraid of the word, and you didn't show that. You didn't show fear of the word at all. You took very, very good care of that. Nicely done.
Surviving trauma or being stereotyped or labeled. Most shame falls into one of those universal areas.
Okay, hang on. There's a step back right here. When you step back, it's retreating on your words. That means you're either not sure of what you just said or you don't believe what you just said. And that's, I mean, look at this. Look at the body language here. stepping back combined with an and a look down just shows people that you're not quite sure about either what you said or what's going to happen next.
The number one thing about shame is it hates having words wrapped around it. It hates being put in the light. So, what I learned from my experience with my husband and my experience with not recognizing love was that until I started recognizing it and loving me, I could never accept the love that was being freely offered all around me. Because my home was full of love. We never left home without giving Mom a hug or a kiss. The last thing she said to you as you walked out the door was, "I love you."
Very cool.
And yet I didn't know how to receive it for myself. And it wasn't until I learned how to love me.
Okay, right there. Yet I didn't know how to receive it for myself. This is a great opportunity to say, has anyone else ever felt this way? And then get a raise of hands, some audience interaction with that.
And accept who I was and love every piece of me, that I finally got to a point where I could say, I know how to love. And every day my love grows.
Okay, watch this. This is super fascinating. There's some things that you're saying that I know you believe them because you're nodding. And there's some things that you're saying that I don't know if you believe them because you're shaking your head. Watch what just happened right here.
The point where I could say, I know how to love.
I know how to love.
And every day my love grows.
Every day my love grows. Interesting.
My
Just keep an
husband
eye
and
on
I
that.
have been married for 20 years.
20 years.
In June.
In June. Yep, you're sure of that.
And
Congratulations, seriously.
Okay, watch us step back. Beautiful smile.
You wanted to
Beautiful
clap.
21 years in June. And something that I learned was that relationships that we draw into our lives can be one of two things. They can be empowering and strengthening, or they can be a perfect mirror for where we feel lack in our lives. So I wanted.
Okay, so I want to take a look at these two things that you've illustrated. The first thing you said that they can be empowering, and then the second thing you said that they can be a mirror. And when you said they can be one of two things, that tells me that that can't be both. And I'm not sure if the content of that is exactly what you mean to say. Because I think that there are relationships that can be empowering because they are a mirror. So if you're going to say one of two things, make sure they're opposites. So I really like the concept of relationships can either be empowering or disempowering. Okay, so let's play with that content just a little bit.
I wanted to share with you a little bit of an object lesson. So I wondered if somebody would be willing to help me for a minute.
Okay, instead of I wondered, say who would be willing.
Can I borrow your notes that does she use the categories the way you all listen?
Yes, I will. So, everyone knows what this is, right? It's a net, right? And they're all interconnected, right?
Mm-hmm.
They
I'm gonna ask
meaning what?
a moment to do. I'll lay this out on the floor. I want you to grab one of the inner strings, the very inner string, and I don't want you to raise any of the rest of the net. I just want you to raise one string. You can't do it. What happens? Everything comes up with it. So show us what happens when you lift that one string. Eventually, the entire net comes up with it. And this is what I learned about relationships. But when I stopped trying to control everyone else in my life
Love this.
and started focusing on me, the one, everything started coming up.
Okay, pause right here. You've got your participant. I love this object lesson. I would even want to expand it and do more with it because it's only about 5 to 10 seconds long. Let's see if we can do more with that. Also, this participant has not yet been told that she's ready to leave the stage, but she's not feeling comfortable up there, so she's wanting to leave. So be aware of your participants when they come up on stage. Make sure you have your hand out to them or you're acknowledging them in some way. And when it's time to let them off stage, make it obvious and give them a round of applause and a thank you.
So we talked a lot about verbalizing and vocalizing.
Watch the motion
And
here.
something that I learned is that between your head and your heart is where your voice lies.
Brilliant. Say that again. When you get feedback like that from your audience of the chuckles or like an aha or a gasp when you hear that, that's a clue to you that that is a gold nugget of content where you can have them write it down. You can even say, "Now I want you to write this down," or I'll say it again so you can write it down. Make sure that you're aware of your audience and how they're responding to you. This is a beautiful nugget.
Heart have dissonance. It usually converges in your voice.
Oh, cool.
So because my head and my heart were so disconnected, I didn't feel the love. I didn't want to feel the love. I didn't want to feel any emotion. I numbed it all. My voice got shut down. So all these wonderful ways that we have learned to verbalize and the affirmations and all of that, I'd shut it all down because I didn't want to verbalize. I couldn't verbalize because my emotions were so shut down. So I employed an alternate method of affirmations. I had a mentor who encouraged me to create what she called the I am poster. The bottom of the I am poster,
Watch the
she
backing
said,
up
I
here.
want you to write perfect, whole, and complete. Perfect, whole, complete. And I'll repeat it again because I'm going to have you guys
Have them repeat it.
today.
Have them repeat it.
So what she encouraged me to do is to take a look at all of the aspects of other people that I loved, everything that I wanted to be, and she asked me to write it within my body. I drew a picture of myself, and I am not an artist, Jamie. I'm not an artist.
Okay, watch the step back.
On the mirror and make I'm an artist in the making. Back in there.
Yes, I am an artist in the making. I encourage my creativity.
I saw your cute little thing, so I call BS on you.
Okay, laughter is such a great pattern interrupt. I love that you're incorporating laughter and relevancy with the people in your audience. Great interaction there.
Her mentor, I call BS on her. I call BS on her. Oh, it's Marianne. Marianne, I really call BS on her. Marianne's my dream mentor. She's awesome.
Aw.
So something else that I learned to threw me off.
I'm sorry.
So as
Play
I
with it.
started
Totally
to
play
put
with
these
it.
words within my body. I was a sales manager. I am a sales manager. And I had a team of agents. And my first experience with these words was sitting in a group, 6 women. And each of those 6 women gave me 6 words that they saw within me. And that mentor said, I want you to take a look at these 36 words. And I want you to pick 6 that you believe you do not have. And you just can't figure out where they're getting it from. One of my words was fun. And it wasn't just fun. When she gave it to me, she said, it's fun with a capital F-U-N with an exclamation point.
Way to play. See, you're totally fun here. I love that.
I don't know what you're seeing, but I don't see it. So that was one of the words I put on my poster. Every morning, I got up and I looked at this poster on my wall. Looked at those words. Looked at the words across the bottom. Perfect, whole, complete. It took about 6 months of doing that. I still couldn't verbalize because there was still a lot of dissonance between my head and my heart. But I had one of my agents come to me. He was leaving the company. He was going to go work somewhere else. And he came to me and he said, Heather, I'm so sad I'm leaving because you are such a fun supervisor. And I went, I did it. I'm a fun supervisor. So words that I never dreamed I could ever have for myself, just by looking at that poster every morning and seeing those words, I was able to manifest that within me. So I took that a step further when I started realizing how powerful it was to have those words within my body. And I thought, if I can create my internal environment by putting those words within that drawing of my body, I want to consciously choose what my environment is no matter where I am.
Good girl.
So outside of my body, on the poster, I put what I wanted in my environment.
Good girl.
In my environment, I wanted love. I wanted light. I wanted peace. And it took a little bit of time. But I can honestly say now that I am at a point where no matter where I am, even if I'm feeling that inner turmoil and wondering what in the world I am doing, I can close my eyes and I can visualize that poster and I can see the love and the light and the peace all around me.
I'm gonna do this for family community. What a cool idea.
And it has given me so much peace in my life because I know that I'm the creator of my environment. I am the creator of my everything I want. All I gotta do is put it in and believe that it can happen. So what I'm gonna do in just a minute, I've got poster
Good
boards
warning.
for all of
Good
you.
warning. Good. Very cool.
I've got markers. I've got, I think just markers. That's all I've got right now.
And there's Sharpies in that bag right there too.
And there are Sharpies in the
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Yes. I'm gonna ask you to start with drawing your body. And what I'm gonna ask you is this. Number one, you are not allowed to judge your drawing.
Jigsaw.
And number two, I want you to imagine it as you want it to be. So if you want to be skinny, you're allowed to draw yourself skinny. If you want to be healthy, you're allowed to draw yourself healthy. It's what you want yourself to be. I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that, and then we've got a second piece of this exercise. So first off is the drawing of the bodies.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna put on some music, okay?
Thank you. Do you want my little speaker?
No, it should be connected.
I neglected one thing.
Yeah. Oh, for fun.
There's a red, sparkly
Super.
sticker.
Thank you.
So I brought
Is it
scissors
on?
down
I think so.
because I want you to each draw your heart and
Oh.
put it in the center of your body.
Cuteness.
That's
To
why you take the
remind
red.
you
Okay, watch out for the phrase "I want you to." Say either things like "we get to" or "you get to" or "we invite you to."
So all of you will get a poster board and a red.
Well, keep
I'm
on.
going to help you.
So Melinda, does it have to be like pushed and synced again or what?
No.
It's not even.
Is the red dot on the Bluetooth?
So something that I noticed that you
It's orange.
maybe unconsciously go back to, and we do this with words. Sometimes we have a word that we repeat all the time. It's a filler word. Chris uses actually all the time. That's a word that I've noticed that he uses. I have a word that I use all the time when I'm needing to fill space. And sometimes we do that with our body too. There's a knee-jerk body reaction that will go to a home place, if you will. And what I'm noticing is your home place is naturally this. It's chin back, it's head back. And if that's something you're doing consciously and something you want, sure, go ahead and keep it. My guess is that it's not. So make sure that you're doing whatever you do consciously and make sure that it's something you want to do. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and go to the next video. It looks like we've got everyone working on their posters. I'm going to speed this up here. Okay, let's see what we've got. I'm loving this, Heather. This is super, super cool. And you're having fun. You're playing. You're creating a place for... When's the last time people got out markers and drew on paper? I mean, besides the advent of the grown-up coloring books, my guess is that people don't do that very often. So you're creating a beautiful, beautiful state change for your guests. Okay.
Okay. So as women, we have an incredible power within our homes and as influencers in all of our lives.
Okay,
One
ask
of the
them
things
how.
that we can do as women.
Ask them how they're influential. If you're going to tell them that they're influential, ask them how they're influential or where they're influential. That way it really, like Inception, the movie, if the idea comes from them, they'll buy into it.
We either build each other up or we tear each other down. And so what I'm going to ask you to do, we shared words of life about ourselves as we stood and looked in the mirror. But as women, we have an incredible power to connect if we choose. So what's going to happen next, I'm going to do what we call speed greatness. And what I'm going to ask you to do, you're all going to get a sheet of labels. And what I'm going to ask you to do, there are 15 on here.
You are really good at giving instructions. You're very, I love how clear you are and how elementary you are. In a moment, you're each going to get a sheet of labels. There's 15. It's beautiful.
Total, including myself. So what I'm going to ask you to do, you're going to get in pairs of twos initially. And you're going to just walk to the person. And you're going to make eye contact. And the eyes are the window to the soul. And because we are women, we are incredibly intuitive. I'm going to ask you to trust your intuition. And I want you to take just a couple minutes and look that person in the eyes. And then I want you to take a pen and I want you to write one word on your label and just stick it.
How many
Where?
words? Have the audience repeat. How many words?
There's on that person. Oh, okay. And then we're going to do something like that after we're done looking at all of those labels. So, yeah.
I don't know if I feel comfortable doing that.
Just on the shoulder.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay.
If you want to stick it on their hand.
No, I just don't want to label them.
No, we're giving words of life. We're giving words,
It's still like
positive words that we see.
So this is a great example. I remember you telling me about this, of details that are needed in the frame up. So give them a frame up of what you're doing speed greatness, but maybe they don't even know what regular greatness is. So give them an example. So I would go up to you, if I were you, I would say this. So for example, you're going to connect with each person in the room, person at a time, and you're going to see them. The eyes are the window to the soul, and as women, we are incredibly intuitive. And I'm going to invite you to see the greatness in the woman in front of you. I'm going to invite you to see all of the amazing beauty within them. I'm going to invite you to see all of their strength, all of their confidence. Remember that everything I loved about every other person that I got to write down, well, this is your chance to reflect everything you love about them and let them know and maybe remind them of what it was. So just really emphasize greatness, that's what you're doing.
Within that person. So if I was doing this with you, I'm going to say the word because I'm not going to write it.
Good, now you're going into it.
What I see is a woman full of passion and power and strength. And the reason I'm asking you to give each other words of life is that oftentimes as women, when we compare, we drag ourselves down. And sometimes it takes someone else out.
So I noticed that you're giving instructions while they're still working on their self-portrait. I would encourage you to separate the two. So I would even do the speed greatness before you had them do their portrait. And maybe they could then take their labels and put them on their portrait and go from there.
Side of us to help us see those blind spots as well as those blind spots. So I'm asking you to help one of your sisters to see the bright spots that you see within them. And if you're not comfortable writing,
no, I was like labeling people.
No, positive. Positive words. Now take one sheet, and then if you run out and you haven't made it around the room, there's 15 labels on here. And if you feel like you do want to travel to every single woman, then I would encourage you to. We've spent a fair amount of time.
Sorry, just under comparison.
Yes.
I know I've seen it on Facebook or somewhere. It says comparison is the thief of joy.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah, it is. It is. We rob ourselves. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
I probably need one.
Okay, there's another
No, on the body.
element of confusion that I'm seeing there with people just mixing this process with speed greatness. So I would, again, separate the two and then introduce this body self-portrait after.
No, is she okay to stop any?
Yes.
Stop.
Oh no, we force our kids to hug us and kiss us.
I don't force my kids. My kids always want to.
You don't have older boys yet. They're 18. You wait till they're 17.
My
Yes.
boys still come up and give me a hug and a kiss, and they're 18.
I think it's a stereotype. I
Mine
don't want
does
that
every
belief.
night.
Yeah, I don't want that belief. I'm sorry.
Well, me neither.
So Jaden still is very traditional.
So one last piece that I want to share with you
Lorianne, you have a night.
is the amazing, incredible power that is women.
I'm like,
She's recording over here.
But you weren't saying anything. Yes, Mary Ann, it's me.
That was awesome.
She loves me.
Hey, gorgeous.
I love you all. I feel like I'm there. That's so precious.
We've already talked about the fact that we have the power to build each other up or to tear each other down.
Doing competition.
Because the competition.
Ours.
And we feel often that if someone else has something and we feel unsafe or threatened by them, if I tear them down, it's going to help me. But in reality, it really does reflect on us. So the last piece that I want to share with you is this. There are times in our lives when we need each other as sisters. And activities like this and events like this bring us together as sisters. I almost didn't come. That was fear.
Oh, you get to be so comfortable in this emotion. So incredibly comfortable in this emotion because so many women are feeling this. Exactly. You heard that. You heard that. Someone said me too.
And I will tell you that when you have things to share with your sisters, there's a power that will try and stop us with every piece of our being. And even after I had decided that I was coming, my husband and I have been in a really amazing place for a very long time, for quite a while. And this last weekend, my intuition told me that I needed to take a look at what was going on in his life. And I found some things that surprised me. Not because I
Watch it
didn't think
step
they were
out.
there, but because I wasn't prepared for the anguish and hurt that I would feel. And just a couple years back, I may have chosen to stop that negativity and not feel it. So just like these powerful, amazing words have the power to build us up. The reason they have such power is because we recognize the negative and the positive. And it wasn't until this last weekend that I realized what a beautiful place my husband and I are in now. I picked up my phone. At one of the potty breaks. And noticed that there was a receipt that came to my email. He didn't know that it comes to my email. And he had purchased a gift for me while he was home.
Cute.
We now are in a space where we can do this for each other. But I still need my sisters to support me and help lift me. So I want to, first of all, applaud all of you for being here, for recognizing that we can't get something that we don't first have for ourselves, and choosing to invest.
I'm observing what she's doing here. Watch your
And I hope
audience.
in some
Oh,
way,
look, there it
shape,
is.
or form,
I don't know if you instructed them to do this or not, but she just took off one of these labels and put it on her picture. So that gives you a clue that that's something that your audience wants to do. And again, I don't know if I missed a part where it cut out where you instructed them to do that. But if you do greatness labels first and then have them do the pictures, spot on.
big or small, that at some point down the road when you're having a struggle or a rough day, my hope is that you'll take these home, put them somewhere. So when you have those days that you just go, you know what? Life really sucks right now. That you can look back on this and remember that you have sisters all around you who love you. And who love you so much that they were willing to help you see the bright spots in your body and in you. And that by recognizing that you will start to see the bright spots. Because it affects every single relationship in our lives. So if you want a better relationship with your husband, with your kids, with whomever it is in your life, take a look here first.
Beautiful.
And ask where your relationship is with you. Because it'll start here.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicely done, Heather. I love this piece. I love this content. I love this presentation. It's beautiful. I feel like every Relief Society needs this. Every women's organization needs this. I absolutely love it. So I would encourage you to see how many more stages you can get this on. Let's see how much far we can spread your message and how much influence you can gain. I also want to see you get more on Facebook and Twitter. I want to see your following there grow because you have so much to offer. Let's create some major impact with what you're doing. We'll talk to you later.